What if I told you the agency that took humanity to the moon, sent rovers to Mars, and peers deeper into the universe than ever before, was about to lose nearly a quarter of its funding? That's right. The United States has proposed the biggest cut to NASA's budget in decades. Missions are on the chopping block, scientists are protesting, and the future of space exploration could be hanging by a thread. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about whether humanity's greatest adventures even happen. Today, we'll break down what's being cut, which missions are at risk, and why Congress is going head-to-head with the White House over the future of NASA. Let's launch into it. In 2025, NASA's budget stood at nearly $25 billion. But the new proposal slashes that down to $18.8 billion, a staggering 24% cut in a single year. For context, that's like NASA suddenly losing enough funding to run the entire Hubble Space Telescope program 10 times over. And the hardest hit? Science. The Science Mission Directorate, responsible for everything from climate monitoring to exploring Mars, faces an almost 50% funding collapse, leaving more than 40 missions at risk. This includes the Mars Sample Return Program, Earth-observing satellites, and even next-generation astrophysics missions. This isn't just about less money. It's about entire missions being delayed, downsized, or canceled. Missions that could answer humanity's biggest questions. The cuts aren't just numbers. This means people, thousands of NASA scientists, engineers, and contractors are facing uncertainty. Already, more than 750 workers have taken voluntary leave offers, and more layoffs are expected if the budget passes. These aren't just jobs lost. They're decades of expertise disappearing overnight. In July, nearly 300 current and former NASA employees signed what's now known as the Voyager Declaration, a protest letter warning that, quote, safety is being compromised in every way. They argue that slashing science funding could put astronauts, missions, and even international partnerships at risk. Imagine canceling the Mars Sample Return, the mission that could finally tell us if life ever existed on the red planet, or cutting Earth observation satellites that track climate change in real time. These aren't luxuries, they're our eyes on the universe and on our own planet. This battle isn't just inside NASA, it's on Capitol Hill. The White House proposal is clear: deep cuts across science, Earth observation, and even flagship programs like the SLS, Orion, and even the Lunar Gateway after Artemis 3. But Congress isn't taking this quietly. The Senate's version of the budget protects science funding at $7.3 billion, holding steady with last year. Meanwhile, the House proposes $6 billion, still a cut, but far less than the White House's drastic $3.9 billion. It's a tug-of-war between politics, priorities, and the future of space exploration. And stuck in the middle, NASA's scientists and engineers waiting to find out which missions live and which ones die. So, where does NASA go from here? The White House plan calls for phasing out mega projects like the Space Launch System, Orion, and even the Lunar Gateway after Artemis 3. Instead, the future is being handed to so-called cost-effective commercial systems, companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and others waiting in the wings. To some, this is a chance for transformation, leaner, faster, more flexible missions that rely on private industry. To others, it's a dangerous gamble, abandoning decades of government-led expertise in favor of untested promises. One thing is certain: the choices made in the next few months will shape the future of exploration for decades. Will we continue bold projects like returning Mars samples, monitoring our climate, and building a lunar presence? Or will they fade into history as unrealized dreams. The battle over NASA's budget isn't just about money. It's about what kind of future we choose, one where humanity keeps pushing outward, or one where we step back from the stars. As NASA faces its deepest cuts in decades, another force is quietly rising: private space companies. Once seen as small partners in the shadow of the agency, firms like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and Rocket Lab are now reshaping the future of exploration. SpaceX is leading the charge with Starship, the largest, most ambitious rocket ever built. Fully reusable, designed for hundreds of flights, and capable of carrying astronauts to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. In many ways, it looks like the future NASA once promised. Blue Origin, backed by Jeff Bezos, is betting on its heavy-lift New Glenn rocket and a human-rated lunar lander. Their goal? A permanent presence on the Moon, fueled by private industry rather than government bureaucracy. And then there's Rocket Lab. Once known for small satellite launches, it's now expanding into interplanetary science, preparing missions to Venus and beyond. Proof that even smaller players can dream big. To some, this is the solution. Let NASA step back, focus on science, and let private companies take the lead in transport. Faster, cheaper, and free of political gridlock. But critics argue this path is risky, handing humanity's cosmic future to corporations whose goals may not always align with the public good. So the question becomes, is this the dawn of a new golden age of space, powered by private industry, or the end of NASA as the world's leader in exploration? The answer may define humanity's next giant leap. NASA's story has always been about daring to dream bigger than the moment we're in. From the moon landings to the edge of interstellar space, its missions remind us what humanity is capable of when we look up instead of down. But today, that story hangs in the balance. Will Congress save these missions, or will budget cuts write the next chapter as one of missed opportunities? What do you think? Should NASA rely more on commercial spaceflight or keep government-led missions alive? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to keep following the fight for humanity's future in space, hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next launch. Until next time, keep looking up.